rise today because while we wasted our time on ridiculous resolutions, there are real and present attacks on freedom and democracy happening in my home state of Florida at the hand of our governor, Ron DeSantis.
Our country has experienced multiple mass shootings and a lynching at the hands of police. And yet here we are, the very first hearing of the Oversight Committee to criticize critical unemployment benefits from a global pandemic.
We have a history of organizing for change in Texas. The same electricians who are getting the lights back on, the same medics caring for our sick are sick and tired of right-wing extremism. And these working families will be the ones to organize and create a true democracy where the people lead and the politicians follow. Mark these words as my first here in this chamber.
This week, our governor launched a full-scale fascist attack on a small and very important institution of higher learning, the New College of Florida. In his quest to stoke the culture war after culture war, Governor DeSantis stacked the Board of Trustees with ultra-conservative lapdogs who immediately fired the New College's president and are now vowing a hostile takeover that will cause harm to thousands of young, queer, and people of color who formerly considered New College a safe haven. I know this school. I love this school. DeSantis has waged a war on education, and we have to be clear, this isn't freedom. And the people of Florida, the students of Florida, will not let this happen without a fight.
This isn't just politics for me. Before joining Congress, I, like many of my colleagues, served 4 years as a state legislator in Pennsylvania. Just 1 year later, we crashed head-on into this global pandemic that, frankly, we were not remotely prepared to handle. Every single day, I heard over and over and over the desperate calls of folks unable to access food banks, people facing the risk of homelessness, folks literally contemplating suicide, unable to eat or work. Every call was a real Pennsylvanian, a real person whose literal lives relied on the same benefits my colleagues see fit to criticize this morning. When the benefits were ended in September of 2021, there were 174,572 people receiving the Pandemic Emergency UC and 387,932 people receiving the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance in the Pittsburgh metro area. The pandemic relief was literally the difference between life and death for my community and communities all over the country.
As Texans try to survive the cold weather and a climate crisis being ignored in our state, they're also worried about paying for housing. They're worried because they've had their workers' rights stripped away, reproductive rights stripped away, voting rights stripped away. They're worried that their kid could be shot in school. These are the concerns of the people, but Republican leadership here is working on none of these issues. Instead, they're trying to redistribute wealth from working class families to their biggest corporate donors.